Welcome to the High Vibe channel. I'm Nell Nicole, I'm your astrologer, and today we're going to be talking about Aries risings. This is the newest series on the channel. We've already done sun signs, we've already done moon signs. So if you're curious about your sun or moon, or somebody that you might know, their sun or moon, go back and check those videos. If you're just interested in astrology as a whole, it might be good to watch them all to see how all of the pieces fit together, right? All of the zodiac placements sort of feed into one another and create the whole of the zodiac. But today, we're just going to focus on Aries. And of course, we're starting with Aries because Aries is the beginning of the chart, right? It's the first sign. And so that will inform the totality of the chart. The birth chart is basically, it's a picture of the sky upon the moment that you're born. For astrologers, it's like a clock or a map, right? It helps us to understand throughout this time and space dynamic that we're in, where you are, what you have most access to, what energies you have most access to based off of where the planets fall in your chart. And I'll go ahead and show it to you because y'all know, if you know me, you know I stay with some notes, okay? I'm not doing shit without writing it down first. So there's a wheel, 360 degrees, same thing we learned in geometry, right? It's cut up into 12 pieces, and so each of these pieces rules over 30 degrees of the chart. Each of the pieces are called houses. Each house is ruled by a sign and a planet, but it's first ruled by a sign, and your planets kind of fall. They might be sprawled onto this chart, you know, however they may lay upon the time of your birth. What I believe that this does for us is helps us to understand your inception, the energy that was right upon your inception. I have to mention this because I get a lot of questions about twins, and oh, well, me and my twin, you know, we have the same exact birthday, the same exact parents. How can you tell us that we're, you know, tell us apart via the chart? You would be surprised, especially if you're not born at exactly the same time. That can give more variation to the energies that are available to each of you. But also, this is just a map, right? So think of a map of your city. It's laid out. The police station is here, the hospital's there, the schools are here, your house is there. So yeah, if you get into a certain situation, you might have to travel to one of those places, and it might be a hot spot, but you have the choice of what energies. I mean, I cut myself last week and I decided, fuck it, I'm not going to the ER. I'll patch this shit up myself because I just didn't feel like waiting, right? But that was a choice. The hospital is 7 minutes from my house. I could have just as well gone down there, gone to urgent care, whatever. But I say that to say free will rules over all. So regardless of if you and another person have the same exact chart, first of all, realistically, even if you are a twin, y'all aren't the same person, period. They can do one thing, they can choose the zig and you can choose the zag. So that could be all the difference. But also, I use the analogy of, and I'm sorry, I'm a little long-winded, I'll be talking. I use the energy of like two kids that are born to an alcoholic parent, let's say. One of them might choose to grow up. They both might hate that their parent is an alcoholic, but one might choose to grow up and divulge in alcohol, and one might never pick up a bottle, right? It's all about physiologically how you choose to internalize things, the individual set of circumstances that you experience in life, because it's nature versus nurture. So even if you guys are raised the exact same, your twin might have watched a movie that inspired them to do something that you never would do, and so it changes the trajectory of that person's life. But we're going to talk just about the landscape today, because in order to get a really in-depth reading on your energy, you know, how your life is going, what decisions you should make based on where things are in your chart and the timing that's outlined in your chart, we would have to sit down one-on-one. So this is just going to be an overview. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you some of the most important angles in your chart. We'll go over what those angles mean. And then if I have a little bit of time, I might go back through and kind of tell you about some of the other houses that are in your chart that are less influential. I'm trying to keep this video to 20 minutes, so let's see if we can do it. We're almost at 5. All right, so for the Aries rising, we've got your first house is Aries. First house represents personality. It represents how you're perceived. It represents, it's like the front door to your house. It's what people first see. It's the landscaping. Like, oh, okay, this type of house might be, okay, so if Aries were the front door, it would be a bright red front door, which might scare some people. It might intrigue others. But the personality tends to be very like, I want to say vital. Aries always reminds me of vitality, of our life force energy. They tend to be the ones that can go really hard for short periods of time. It's like brute force is what I think of when I think of Aries. I also think of a baby. And so, being that Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, it really does represent us in our infant stages, right? I've studied early childhood development and psychology. And so, one very interesting analogy that I read not too long ago was that people who communicate through aggression a lot of times experience arrested development. That means at some point in your life, you stop developing. You're arrested at that developmental stage, be it due to trauma, what have you, okay? And the thing about these zodiac alignments is that a lot of times, all Aries risings won't have the same experience, but they'll have themes that surround their experience. So I say that to say a lot of Aries rising people tend to be bold. They tend to want to, come at you with the big emotions first, get that out of the way. And the thing about the psychology I was just talking to y'all about is when you're a baby and you don't know language, pretty much the only thing you can do is fuss and cry. And so it really speaks to the nature of the Aries, right? That agitation, irritability that they may exhibit, I think it just kind of represents that infantile stage of psychology that they're in. It's like, I need my needs met. You're not meeting my needs. Let me show you that I need this need met. And just as soon as they put their foot down or make a stink or do whatever they're doing, they're over it, just like a baby. It's like, what the hell? You were just screaming your head off 2 seconds ago, but then I gave you to Uncle Johnny and you just stopped screaming because the need was met. I just needed y'all to know I was upset. Come get me. Not too much, not too serious. So that's the thing about Aries rising. A lot of times people can be intimidated by your powerful essence, by your kind of brute, blunt way of entering situations, of introducing yourself. You might, I can see people at a work situation where let meet the team, and the Aries is like scary to some people, but then when you get to know them, they can be some of the most lovable people. Aries rising people tend to be some of the most emotionally, I don't want to say regulated, I don't think that that's the way, but they're, how do I want to put it, everything in its right place. So of course, when I first meet somebody, first impressions are everything. I want to make a bold impression, right? But then you get to meet the other sides of them and understand their humanity, and they make a lot more sense. But that first house, right, being that is of the personality, they tend to be bold. They tend to be very energetic people. They can even be a little bit competitive. I've witnessed them be a little bit combative. They are, think Rihanna. We love Rihanna, but at the same time, Good Girl Gone Bad era, that was a perfect marketing ploy for her because that's really who she is. Like, she started off really, really sweet, docile girl from the islands, but she showed these people, once she saw how the music industry was going and she got a little time under her belt, she started clapping back on motherfuckers and letting them know, like, I'm not the one. You troll me, I will troll your ass to hell. But the people who love her, like, you can tell she takes really good care of them. She places that energy well. She gives it to the people who deserve it the most. These people can also be really quick to act and sometimes impulsive. They have that pioneering spirit. It's like, move, I got it. Like, y'all are y'all scared? Get the hell out of my way. Give me the phone. I'll handle it. They're really action-oriented people as well. They tend to exude a lot of physical energy. Most Aries rising people that I know have at least one stint in life. Excuse me, I gotta turn my heater. It's too hot. Have at least one stint in life where they're very into working out. Like, that becomes their thing, their little jam or whatever, because they have to exude that energy. And when they're in that state, they tend to be very it tends to help them regulate that much more because it gives them somewhere to put all of that energy that they have. All right, let's see. Next is, I want to take you guys all the way down to the 4th house. Now, each of the houses represent a different sector in life. The ones I'm going to introduce to you are 1st house personality, 4th house early life, home life, how they were mothered, how they mother themselves. 7th house, which is the house of relationships, and then the 10th house, which is the house of like reputation, career, what have you. So going back to the 4th house now, remember, these are really energetic people who can, really assert themselves and take up space when need be in a group environment or when you first meet them. But then when you get to the 4th house, which is who they feel they are, how they comfort themselves, how they kind of get back to a state of homeostasis is actually very soft in that fourth house. They have a fourth house Cancer. This is the natural layout of the zodiac wheel. Fourth house naturally rules Cancer. So this is where we're supposed to go to be our softest, to gain respite, to really get that nurturing, right? That nurturance, to understand how to nurture another so that when you grow up, you can parent yourself, you can nurture yourself through life's trials and tribulations. And these people really understand how to take their space. I'm trying to tell you. Now, may it come from, may it be from embarrassment, right? Or maybe doing a little bit too much when they're out in the world and not, or like maybe it's just, like Superman Clark Kent, like when it's time to get out here, they get active, they put that Aries cape on, they're like, listen, I'm here. Y'all scared to do it, I'll do it. But then when they go back in their shell, they want to kind of disappear a little bit into their own matrix. They don't want probing in the home. Like, nah, when we outside, we can spar, but when I'm home, I'm home. This is where I'm the most sensitive, my most, vulnerable. And so I will say Cancer does have an edge to it. And being that these people they're not the type to back down, they tend to fight for their peace. That's how I'm picking it up. They might have learned resilience in their home life. Like maybe they grew up with siblings who just tormented them or whatever, and they had to learn how to take their own space or how to create boundaries for themselves. But by any means, I'm telling you, they will figure out how to transform into the crab and create a shell around themselves. And if you try to come in there and fuck with them, they know how to bite. Okay? So don't do it. Just don't. Let them be. Let them do them. If they love you enough, they'll invite you in and they'll give you covering as well. And they will feed you. They will listen to you. They will hear you out. They will fuck with you the longest way, I'm telling you. But you better protect their secrets. You better not have them they dirty laundry out all out in the street. And if they tell you, like if they express that vulnerability, they're talking to you about their early childhood trauma, or they're telling you about emotional scars or whatever, you have better protect that shit with your life, because if you don't, they become very, very vicious within that space. Wouldn't want a baby mama or baby daddy with the Aries rising. I'm just saying, they're gonna go for the jugular. They're going to put everything in its right place. So all right, seventh house, now we're on the other side of the wheel. They have a Libra rising. Libra rules their seventh house, okay? Libra rules their seventh house. And so they really look for their relationships to bring them that balance that they might lack on their own. Them being Aries risings, Aries is a cardinal sign. Libra's a cardinal sign as well. What does that mean, Nell? What is cardinal? Cardinal means they're take charge type of people. Now, what are they taking charge of? Aries is taking charge of being the leader, being the pioneer, being first, getting it done. I won't even say getting it done, starting it, right? They're going to start some shit for sure. And Libra is all about getting it done as far as like striking a balance, creating some harmony, talking. Aries is talk first. No, Aries is boop first, talk later. The Libra side of them, though, in their seventh house means that they are attracting partners, and they need partners who can talk first. And then, hey, if we talk and we realize it's reasonable to go whoop some ass, then we'll go whoop some ass, okay? But, not in the wrong order. So they can tend to have imbalanced partnerships until they come to an age and a level of maturity where they realize, oh, this person isn't soft, they're reasonable. Oh, it's not that people in relationships want to water me down and make me less of myself. They want to help me be fair. Aries can be very destructive. So Aries rising people can kind of, like I said, fuck some shit up first, ask questions later. The Libra seventh house makes it so that in relationships, they soften a little bit. They look for somebody to help them strike that balance that I talked about. They look for somebody to talk to, who's going to listen to them, hear them out. They can be very energetic, and Libra can be that way too, but they can be very chill and kind of leave space for a person. So they really need somebody, whether this is relationships, friendships, business partnerships, who's going to allow them to lay it all out and to be felt, heard, and who will mirror back to them. Yeah, you're justified in feeling like that, but can we go about it a different way? here's the time where you can cut their head off. Here's the time where you have to temper yourself a little bit, you know? So yeah, they're drawn to balanced, fair-minded, and charming partners because they can be a little bit tough to handle at first. So they want the charmer on their arm, good cop, bad cop, if you will. Um, they want to protect that Libra energy as well, being that they're so fierce in that first house and fourth house. So in the way that they project onto others and the way that they nurture themselves, they're very much in the protection space. And so they want to make sure that this Libra, because Libras can be a little bit too open, too soft, right? That they're protected. And balanced, like I said. All right, last house that we're going to talk about is 10th house. So the 10th house is the house of reputation. It sits at the highest point of your chart. It's what people can see of you. It's not necessarily exactly who you are. It's not how you feel. It's not even really that deep, but it is your reputation. It is a means or mode of success in a way. It can show you what people see and what you should sort of play into in order to reach the height of your reputation. And so the 10th house falls into its natural house with Aries. Capricorn. Capricorn is all about enterprising efforts. It's all about, you know, what do I want to say? Society. It could be about business. It could be about status quo. It could be about self-development. Capricorn is a very dynamic sign that I don't think a lot of people really understand, but it's a tougher energy. It's ruled by Saturn. And so these people tend to be workaholics, period. They tend to be hard workers. They want the reputation. And this is why a lot of times that Aries rising comes off kind of strong because they're like, I got to establish myself as the leader. And like, if nobody else will, I am not afraid to wear the platoon on my back. I don't even know if I just said that right, but y'all know what I mean. They're very much ready to take charge, CEO material. You get what I'm saying? They want to be the face of some shit because y'all not gonna do it right. Y'all not gonna say it right. They're very savvy. That's another thing, is that they're like calculated as hell when it comes to business and their reputation and how they move throughout these career streets, the career pathway, right? Whatever it is that they choose to do, they want to go to the height of it. They want to get to the point where they can lead that thing, and they want to manage that shit the way they want to manage it. Capricorn is a really, really like by the rules type of sign. So these people might not learn the rules, but they're going to get the right people on their team who are going to help them with regulatory affairs, licensing, and the things of that nature so that they can be on their square at all times, and they can just like, I don't want to say run balls to the wall, but you know, they can do their Aries thing and be like, okay, is it okay that we say this and we say that? Because that's what okay, we good? All right, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do the damn thing. And they're really good at knowing the patterns of people. I noticed that with Capricorn 10th housers, like, it's something about that status quo. It's something about that shit. Like, they understand people so on a sociological level, to where it's almost like they can play with people like pawns, not individually. I mean the masses. I'm talking about at the height of the heights. Like, they understand human nature is what I'm getting at. So like when it comes to business dealings, I keep thinking about Rihanna, yo, like with Fenty and Savage by Fenty. Like, she really came in the game as a musician. They had her by the balls. She finally learned enough to be like, you know what, fuck this. I know my target audience. I know the bitches who go up for me. I'm getting ready to hit them in every area, and not in a bad way. I'm gonna give them what they want. They want to look like me? Let's do Fenty Skin. They want to be like me? I'm known for my sexy looks. Let me make sure everybody can feel sexy. I'm going to go do Savage by Fenty and make the sizes 00 all the way to 4X, my nigga, so everybody can get in where they fit in. And I just think that that's so powerful. The fact that, you know, these people know themselves and they understand human nature enough to know like exactly what business move to make in order to really hit that rig and make it successful. So that's pretty much all I have for Aries rising at this time. I do want to do more in-depth videos of all of the signs, but more than likely that will be on my Patreon or some other, I think I might post those on Vimeo. I don't know. We're going to rock and roll together, though. I'll let you know as soon as those things are posted, so that if you want to go ahead and take a look and get your breakdown for each individual house, then you can have that. But again, if you are wanting to look at your individual chart and see exactly how the energies are kind of synthesizing for you, then you can go ahead and book a reading. The description or the link to purchase a reading, it would be a Zoom session with me, is down below. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to share this video, watch the other videos for other rising signs that you may be interested in, and leave a comment below letting me know if this felt right, or, you know what I'm saying, if you're like, you forgot this, or, you know, whatever you guys think, just let me know below. Love you. Bye.